Those of us who have kids are worried about this stuff. Even people are worried about this in the workplace. So the use of generative AI in schools in particular is causing a divide in classrooms across the country. A report last year from the Center for Democracy and Technology says 59% of teachers believe one or more of their students have used generative AI for school purposes. So how does it work? Students can drop an assignment into something like ChatGPT, click a button, and their homework is done in seconds. Some teachers are even using it to detect kids that are actually cheating and have used it themselves. So some are banning AI completely in the classroom. Others are actually encouraging its use. Joining us now are two educators with very different approaches for AI education. CEO Amanda Bickerstaff, she is the CEO of AI Education, and Professor James Taylor from the College of New Jersey, who has banned the use of AI in his philosophy classes. This is a philosophical question, Professor, and I'm so glad both of you are here to discuss it. Let's first get both sides of the story. For you, Amanda, why do you think AI is a good tool for education?
Well, I think that a balanced approach is important. So I don't know how far, it's going to be a debate, but I think that for us, generative AI is not going away. We're living through an inflection point unlike anything we've ever lived before. Generative AI is becoming ubiquitous in a lot of our tools and social media and devices. If you have a new iPhone, then you already have generative AI models that are in your hands. And so for us, I think that we have to prepare students for a future that's not just 15, 20 years away, but it's happening in the next 2 to 5 years. And so for us, we believe very strongly that AI literacy, actually teaching kids in developmentally appropriate ways what AI is and isn't, specifically what generative AI is and isn't, and then how to use those tools responsibly, is a better approach than just outright banning. Because as soon as it's banned, it's forbidden fruit. If you have a kid, you know, oh, you can't use this, and then they're going to be using these tools potentially in ways that could actually harm them, especially around thinking.
Professor, your rebuttal, please.
I'm pausing, which I know is a big no-no on television, but I'm a philosopher, and so we tend to think about things quite deeply. And I have banned AI in my classroom, but I'm not in favor of banning AI across the board. I agree with Amanda that learning how to use it responsibly is important, but I think that there has to be some classroom spaces where it's prohibited and its use is eliminated. And the reason for that is fairly straightforward. As a philosopher, my job is to get students to engage in critical thinking, to work out what their views are, to analyze the arguments of other people, to see if you can come to a consensus, or, and my students hate this, to see maybe somebody else is just wrong and you're right. And I like it when students stick to their guns and say this. But to be able to do this, what you have to do is to actually read other people's arguments, think about what they're trying to say, work out what the reasons they're given in support of their views are, assess them, and then work out your own response. So what I do, AI can do this. If you type in a prompt, boom, there's the answer. But that means that the student has now outsourced all of their thinking to a machine. They haven't worked out and developed the skills themselves. It's critical that students develop the critical reasoning skills so that they can actually assess AI products and also the products of other human writers. So that's why I ban AI in my classrooms.
So, Amanda, to James's point, how do you ensure that students still have the rigorous intellectual foundation to think and write clearly while also giving them access to AI, which does the thinking and the writing for them?
Well, I think that if you've used generative AI, you know that prompting techniques actually require some of those same skills. To use generative AI more than just generically, it requires critical thinking, it requires grit, resilience, reflection, evaluation. So even with students that are, let's say, in high school, teaching them how to prompt effectively can be just as hard as writing.
Do you really think that, Amanda? Because
honestly, that's potentially a viral. The idea that prompting is equivalent to writing, really?
Well, no, I think that, so let me give you, can I give an example? That we did a panel with 2 young girls that were going to trick their teacher. They were asked to trick their teacher, but they had to create an essay. And the essay had to be fully AI generated, and they had to feel confident to turn it in. And so what the girls did is they first wrote the essay, and it took them a couple hours, and they felt really confident. You know how long it took them to create a fully AI generated essay that they liked, meaning they could not touch it outside of the AI system? A week. And it actually, they said it was harder. It required them to learn how to actually use the tools effectively, to evaluate their voice and what they were trying to say, and to edit fully within the tool. I'm not, like, these are new skills for the future. critical thinking is something that we have to teach. And I think that elementary school is going to be more important than ever, actually working with young people to start building foundational skills that we haven't historically done very well over the last 2 decades. If you look at the NAEP scores that just came out, reading is at an all-time low in terms of like how the US is doing. So it's not that I'm saying that those skills aren't important, but I promise you, to really learn how to use generative AI to the highest level of efficacy requires a lot of skills students don't have, and that can be effective. That kid going to your classroom and having those conversations could be better suited to actually have and test and try out those same Socratic dialogues with an AI tool, and then now take those newfound skills and then go into your classroom and feel more prepared and more confident.
It makes me think of, and do you have something you'd like to add, Professor?
Yes, I think that Amanda's point is well taken, and that writing good prompts does actually require you to have mastery of the subject that you're addressing and know how to ask for questions. One of the things in philosophy we often say is, we don't give you the answers, we train you how to ask the right questions. So I see generative AI as a wonderful opportunity for philosophers, because what we have been doing for literally millennia is getting people to ask the right questions and to work out how to get the answers you're after before you even know what those answers are. So I see essentially the prompting is going to be a branch of philosophy. But to get there, you have to actually work out how to do this without the crutch of AI.
Well, we all agree where we'd like to be. We would like our children to grow up and be educated with a foundation where they can have a conversation like this, which is complex and subtle, and have a back and forth. I hope that they can. I hope that we all win. Amanda Bickerstaff and James Taylor, thank you very much. Appreciate it.